been a few weeks now since the news of Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard was announced. The shock has somewhat died down, but there's still so many questions that have been raised. Now, from the point of view of those working there, you can't help but be happy for them. Hopefully this will instill a new work culture and things will change and the days of sexual harassment lawsuits will be long over. But from a gaming perspective, can this be considered a good thing? Or are Microsoft making the move that at least one family member makes every Christmas, where they build their hotel on the blues and wipe you all out in the name of monopoly? First of all, before going on, I feel like I have to mention that I do have both a PlayStation 5 and an Xbox. I'm not a fanboy, I don't really take sides in this. I don't think all Xbox owners are Xbox, and I don't go calling PlayStation owners ponies. I don't understand why people use those terms thinking they're all cool, but if you are one of those people, I would suggest you evaluate your existence. Everything that's going to be said in this video is from the view of someone who cares about the gaming industry and has been playing games for most of his life, not by someone that has a vendetta against Microsoft. Without further ado, let's get into this. Now, as I said in the intro, the shock may have calmed slightly, but that does not mean that it is not still there. I still really can't fathom it as someone that has played games all his life, and a fair few of them Activision titles. The fact that Spyro and Crash Bandicoot, former mascots of PlayStation, are now owned by Xbox, the very thought sends shivers down my spine. Imagine Halo with PlayStation branding, it's just not right. And then there is the big boy that is Call of Duty, but we'll get to that bastard franchise later. Now, what is clear to me with this, and with Bethesda first of all, over the last year, is that Microsoft really aren't messing around anymore. They have been in the gaming industry for over 20 years now, and Xbox, while successful, has never really been the top dog. The closest it came was with the 360 PS3 generation, but even then, by the end of it, the PS3 sold more, and of course we had the Wii. They then absolutely binned it with the Xbox One and had to spend the whole generation winning people back. But what does that matter? As I said, there's no doubt Xbox hasn't been successful, and to people like me and you, it really doesn't matter. We look at it from the outside and we'd think both PlayStation and Xbox can exist together and have been successful together. But to massive companies such as Microsoft, it really does matter. Microsoft are huge. They don't get into things to be behind. There are probably times in the past where they thought, do we bother with this anymore? If no, they pull the plug gracefully into the sunlight. Maybe they stay in gaming but are just not on the hardware side, are a lot less prominent. Or if yes, they go balls deep and they big dick swing, and that is exactly what they did. Put it in an easy way to comprehend. Microsoft now owns Fallout, Doom, Call of Duty, Spyro, Crash Bandicoot, Overwatch, Diablo, World of Warcraft, Skyrim, and the satanic evil that is brought to you by King, such as games like Candy Crush, amongst many others. All are under the Xbox umbrella. They really did take the Xbox has no games memes to heart, didn't they? All in the space of a couple of years, many multi-platform games are just under Microsoft, just like that, now under the Microsoft name. I can't help but be concerned by this. For me, it is difficult not to see this as anything other than monopoly building. Now, for those of you who are not aware of business jargon, or you've never played the family/friendship ruining game with this son of the bitch on the front, a monopoly is when a company has control of a sector or a service, basically. Now, Xbox and Microsoft are very good at the communicating side of things these days, as opposed to their Xbox One disasters. They have that ability to say things without really saying anything. And just to be clear, and just for the avoidance of doubt, even with tweets like this, even if they may not say so publicly, heck, Phil Spencer himself may not even want it. Those right at the top of Microsoft would want a monopoly on the gaming industry. It is massive, it makes so much money. They want their products to be the top dog. They don't want to have competition. They want the consumers, they want all the profits, they want to be the only choice for people. Every business, or at least every major business, wants that. So would Sony if it was possible for them to buy shit out at this rate. It's what Apple wanted when they came out with the smartphone. It's what Amazon wants when it comes to being the place to go to buy things. They don't want you going to the high streets, to the store. They want you to have a Prime subscription with next day delivery so they can conquer the world and Bezos can become our overlord. These businesses won't admit that, but deep down it is what they are after. Remember earlier I said we'd get to that bastard franchise? Well, we're here. To be honest, the fact we got 5 minutes into this without bringing up the 3 words Call of Duty is quite good going, but it's now time we bring up everyone's favourite franchise. Whether it's favourite to play or whether it's to call shite, that is another discussion. Now for me, and for probably quite a few people, the way this takeover, buyout, whatever you want to call it, gets viewed is probably defined by what they do with Call of Duty. This is undoubtedly the biggest franchise out there, and therefore by being involved in this buyout, it is the biggest franchise involved in that. And the bigger overarching question of all of this is, will Call of Duty actually become an Xbox or / Game Pass, PC, Xbox exclusive essentially? It's a very realistic threat to Sony that their biggest game, their biggest PlayStation Store seller, may not be on their consoles for much longer. The main question is, from a Microsoft point of view, do you spend close to $70 billion to have games release on competition's hardware? The tweet I referenced earlier from Phil Spencer tried to reassure, but all it really did is keep speculation at a high point. As I said earlier, they're good at saying something whilst really saying very little. So the tweet itself: had good calls this week with leaders at Sony. I confirmed our intent to honour all existing agreements upon acquisition of Activision Blizzard, and our desire to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation. Sony is an important part of our industry and we value our relationship. Now, as far as I'm concerned, this could be interpreted in many different ways. Now, for me and many people, there are three things that could happen, and three things that are really suggested from this tweet that you could take out of it. Now, the optimist would say this tweet means Call of Duty is set to remain on PlayStation for the foreseeable future. And to those that think this, hey look, it's a gullible on the ceiling. Of course, this would be with certain content exclusive on Xbox and Game Pass, things like Master Chief or Minecraft Steve skins in Warzone. There'd be nothing like getting killed by fucking Steve camping in the corner, would there? Now, another way of reading it from this tweet is that COD will remain whilst the current agreement is in place. Now, part of the irony of this all, of course, is that Sony actually have a deal with Activision COD since 2015, when they gladly proclaimed that PlayStation is the home of Call of Duty. That must really sting a bit now, hasn't it? Jesus. Anyway, maybe that will ensure games remain on PlayStation until that runs out. But once that is done, games will be released solely on the Xbox ecosystem. Now, the final way of interpreting that tweet is that games currently on the system will continue to be supported, but games following 2023, when the buyout actually goes through, will no longer release on PlayStation. So, for example, Warzone will be maintained, but no new games will be released on it. The main releases will all be on Xbox and probably all be day one on Game Pass. But this would raise the question for the now rumoured Warzone 2 that is set to be released. So, what will happen with the crown jewel of Activision? Honestly, who knows? Call of Duty has the biggest chance of remaining multi-platform out of all the other franchises that are involved in both buyouts of Bethesda and Activision, in my opinion. It is the best-selling game on PlayStation. The majority of players on it are on PlayStation. The amount of money made by the game on Sony platforms is insane. But as I said earlier, do you spend that amount of money they have spent on Activision to still release games on the competitor's platform? Honestly, whatever they do, Microsoft wins regardless as far as I'm concerned. Say they release on PlayStation, they make a load of money, they get the exclusive content on Xbox, which makes some move over to their platforms. If they don't release on PlayStation, yes, they take the hit financially of those sales, but let's face it, if anyone can, Microsoft can. But they now have the biggest franchise out there only releasing on Xbox, and that will 100% sell consoles, 100% sell Games Pass subscriptions. Not that it matters in any way whatsoever, but my gut feeling is that once 2023 comes around, only Warzone or the supposed Warzone 2 will be on PlayStation, with main releases going on to Xbox and Game Pass. If that was to occur, you'll have players who have played a certain game franchise for God knows how long on their preferred platform, who, for no fault of their own, may now not get experience future games in that franchise. Not everyone can simply buy both consoles. Not everyone can simply switch over. When I was a kid playing COD with my friends on PS3, for example, I would have been buggered by this. If I was playing Modern Warfare 2 one year and then Black Ops didn't come out on PS3, that would be it for me in terms of Call of Duty, probably. Maybe that would have been a good thing, like, who knows. It is already looking set that every other previously cross-platform franchise from Bethesda, and most likely Activision as well, when all things are said and done, will probably no longer have a place on PlayStation. I can obviously understand why Microsoft have chosen that route, but it is a massive shame, and it does concern me that an attempt at a monopoly is starting to take hold. Now, to be balanced, it is worth saying that I am admittedly cynical. as you will probably see in future videos on this channel. Microsoft could go in any direction with this, whether it is ultimately good or bad for gaming will remain to be seen, but will certainly do, who knows, stay tuned for a future video on that exact subject. All we can do as consumers is wait and see and hope that Microsoft do not go in the direction of the twat with a mustache and the top hat. Being all around, maybe you agree with me, whatever. As I said, leave them down below, it would be interesting to get the thoughts of others. Leave a like if you enjoyed and subscribe for more from this channel where we will cover all things from gaming, movies, TVs and occasionally videos regarding the scary, horrible thing that is day-to-day life, the outside world. Anyway, thank you for watching and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.